Ontario Premier Doug Ford doesn't seem to be doing too well in the polls, and we saw a video of him digging out cars in a blizzard that hit recently. What was that about?
Well, the thing is, whether you love or don't love the Fords, they're the masters of retail politics, right? There's a reason why the Ford family has been so successful. Yes, they're controversial, but they have been successful, and they're very good at retail politics. And when Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto, yes, he was imperfect like all mayors, but on the retail side, when there was a pothole to be filled or a problem that garbage wasn't picked up, he made sure that City Hall was responsive and accountable. And I think what we're seeing now is Doug Ford to tap into that, what I'll say, Ford franchise of being connected with average Ontarians and being, it's kind of like, I don't know, did you ever see the cheesecake?
Cheesecake video. I did see that. Yeah.
I watched the cheesecake video and I'd like to say, full disclosure, I like cheesecake. So
I do too.
I was interested in the recipe, but stuff like that. Sometimes people tend to make fun and of politicians, the cheesecake video, the shoveling of the snow. But the fact of the matter is those are things that average people do. And I think the snow shoveling is indicative not just of the brand of the premier, but also that it is election season coming up. And TikTok, June will come faster than we think, and it's pretty clear that Doug Ford is going to be looking to build his image, especially with some of the polling numbers that show the Liberals, the provincial Liberals, much more competitive than they've ever been.
Speaking of, they've got a new leader in Stephen Del Duca. I mean, do you think that he can seize on this opportunity?
Well, it's a little early to tell because, to a certain extent, the provincial Liberals are a parking space for some of those disaffected voters that were supporting Doug Ford. But like all parties, what they have to do is to define his image. And hopefully if you're a Liberal strategist, for those Liberal strategists, they need to define his image before the New Democrats and the Conservatives define Del Duca. So it's a little early. It shows that there's potential for sure, but there is definitely risk and vulnerability in the Del Duca. And you know what? If you're Andrea Horwath, you got to be thinking, what needs to happen? She's been a solid performer at Queen's Park. She's led the party successfully, had a good last election, but just doesn't seem to have traction right now where people are skipping over the New Democrats, even though they're the official opposition, and looking at the Liberals as an alternative to the Ford government.
I mean, Ontario has had an NDP government in the past, but that was a long time ago now. And yeah, we'll see. Nick, going over to Quebec, Quebec Premier Francois Legault, he's been riding really high in the polls lately, and he did a pretty bold move politically, I suppose, or maybe not. It was his proposed tax on people who refuse to get vaccinated, which he said it would put money into the healthcare system. How are his chances, do you think?
Well, his chances are quite strong. And, the thing is he's had double-digit advantage over all of the provincial parties in Quebec. And, his advantage, and one of the surveys that I saw, I think his advantage had dropped to 18 points. So like,
wow,
dropped to 18, like, come on. It's still a massive win for Legault and the CAQ party. So, but, what's interesting is that, we've seen other leaders in other countries like Macron saying, he wants to piss off, he said it in French, but he wants to piss off, people that are unvaccinated. We have other European countries that are putting levies on people that refuse to get vaccinated. And what we see is Legault kind of going into this space of having a fine/tax. He won't say the T word, but a levy, he's been calling it. We'll have a health levy on people that decide that they don't want to get vaccinated and don't have a valid reason. And I think a lot of this has to do, so think of it this way. We talked about the federal Liberals. They've been just saying the same stuff on the pandemic, right? And people are like, okay, I've heard this all. Tell me what new things that you're going to do. I see Legault's move, even though he has a massive advantage in the polls, as a way for him to show that he's doing something else, something new to continue to fight the pandemic. And that's why I don't think there's a big political downside for him on this front, because what Canadians and voters want to hear from all of their elected officials is like, yeah, we get vaccinated, we wear masks, we get socially distanced, we lock down the economy. Tell me something else that we could do to try to fight this, to give hope to people that this can be controlled and put to an end. So for Legault, I think that's part of his strategy, to look proactive and to do something new.
And I noticed that the Trudeau government has sort of taken a hands-off approach to this when asked if they would potentially, intervene in Quebec doing this.
Yeah, I think a lot of this has to do with, a lot of, and can I tell you something, Michael? A lot of the federal party leaders, or most of the federal party leaders, usually do not want to interfere in politics in Quebec, because that's like the kiss o' death.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Meddling in provincial affairs in Quebec or in other provinces. So they're going to steer clear of that, just because, Quebec's going to be a key battleground for all of the federal parties. And Quebec could basically make or break the party that could win the election, and whether they could even have a chance to form a majority government.